Such a donut hole.
Thanks. That's the nicest thing I think you've ever said to me. Welcome back, everybody. Enter the Abyss with Britton and Cleet.
I kind of like Cleet and Britton. That's a good start.
Well, I was going alphabetical. Anyway, yeah, no, alphabetical. Welcome back. Yeah, I don't know where we're going. Okay, so we got a new beer.
Yeah, I picked it out. It's called Terrible from Unibrow.
You bought a beer that's called Terrible.
Terrible Unibrow.
And you expect it to be anything but?
I was trying to give you a hint, Britton.
Yeah, so let me see.
You have a terrible Unibrow.
It's one massive bottle, and it's literally called Terrible, and it's a Belgian-style quadruple ale. I've never had more than like a double ale in my life.
Yeah, I've had a quadruple bypass, but not a quadruple, whatever that was.
Yeah, God, I have no idea what that is. You're just diving into it. Is it good? There's a lot of foam in this thing. Your face doesn't give me reassurance, bro.
It's like the weirdest. You would not, because it looks like a stout, but it tastes like fruit.
Oh.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, my.
It tastes like apples.
Oh, my God.
Tastes like a bunch of apples.
I don't want to be facetious, but that's probably the worst one we've had.
I don't know. No, this is not the worst.
I think, in my opinion, this is the worst one we've had. But I'm only going to point out the obvious. You bought a beer that's called Terrible.
Is it terrible?
It's awful.
On the scale of 1 to 5, what is it?
-10. I hope we don't ever get sponsored by this beer company.
I'll give it a 3.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
You're way off. I don't even know what your rating systems are anymore. You don't watch good movies. You drink terrible
I'm feeling
beer.
really attacked right now.
Good. I'm feeling attacked while
you're really moody when you drink a bad beer.
Yeah. It pisses me off. There's very few things in this world that are worse than drinking a bad beer. And you're just still... Is it one of those beers that like you're like, oh, if you take 12 sips, it suddenly becomes magical?
Let's do the test. It's called the 2 gulp.
The 2 gulp? I don't know. I haven't done that since high school.
The beer tastes kind of gross. You just drink it a lot more, and it tastes better.
It kind of tastes like an ashtray full of nickels. It's not good.
So how often do you get that flavor profile going on?
I had it once in my life, and I won't go again. Until now, you buy a beer that's called Terrible.
Nickels.
Anyway, let's move on from this nasty beer. So they're making a new Jeepers Creepers film.
See, Jeepers Creepers is like the best film. One of my favorite scary movies. We've talked about it, right?
Several times.
You had that story that like aligned with Jeepers Creepers, or people think it was based off it. Yeah, Depew. That was the last thing he heard was when he shot himself. Depew. My favorite part, I can't remember which Jeepers Creepers it was, but it was after like he goes into stasis. They just like chain him up in a barn. They're just ready to just like shoot him when he comes back to life.
I think that was the second one.
Yeah.
It's like the guy on the farm, and he's like chained up. He's like, every 27 years.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. So, like, the first one, best movie ever. Second one was tolerable. It wasn't the best. You could still watch it. The third one, god-awful.
You didn't like the buses? The
buses,
teenagers?
that's what I said. It was tolerable. It wasn't my favorite.
Wait, I thought that was the third one.
No, the third one was, like, just trash.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, don't watch it.
I remember a bus in the first one. Okay.
Yeah, yes, that's 2.
Yeah, okay, I'm fine. What was the third one about? Now I'm curious.
It's like it's nothing. It's about nothing. It's horrible. It's like these teenagers riding around on like motorcycles, and then Jeepers Creepers car shoots this like impaling spear out and pulls it. It's horrible. It's absolutely like dancing on his truck. I kid you not. He literally was. Just go watch this stupid film.
He's from the South.
You'll probably
it's just how they do things there.
You'll probably give it a 4 out of 5, just like you're giving this beer.
No, I'm a dick when it comes to movies.
But anyway, I guess they got a really good director. I don't know who's doing it, but it's supposed to be a really good film. I don't know if they're just forgetting the third ever happened or if it's a complete reboot. But
you got to reboot that. You can't have some hillbilly Jeeper Creeper.
But it's set for 2021 release, so this year.
If I saw him dancing on a truck, I'd be like, Jeepers, he really is a creeper.
But also, on the topic of new movies, your buddy M. Night Shyamalan's making a new one.
Oh.
It actually looks pretty good. It's called Old.
Yeah.
And it's like this family that goes to the beach, and like the son walks away, and then he comes back, and he's like 13 years older, and he's only been gone for like 10 seconds.
I think the only way M. Night Shyamalan could like redeem himself to me is where he has a movie like that, and then all of a sudden the character is like, wait a minute, this big twist is going to happen. Oh my God, everything aligns to this weird, bizarre twist. And then it's like, no, what are you talking about? And that's the end of the movie.
That's how you would redeem it?
Yeah, I'd be like, he didn't do a twist.
I think
and that is the twist.
The twist is there's no twist.
Whoa.
See, look, I'm not going to lie. He's had some shit movies, right?
But Lady in the Water, you not a fan of that?
The Village, The Happening,
Avatar, Airbender. Yeah, like when he got the rights to that, I died on the inside.
Right. So he's had some shit, but The Visit that he did more recently was really good.
I haven't watched it.
His show on Apple Plus, Servant, is really good. But this one looks okay. I think that you're living an M. Night Shyamalan plot twist. You're going to suddenly be like, just kidding, I like Shyamalan. Twist.
What a twist.
What a twist. Yeah, so that's current movie events. Yeah, that's really it. Our lives are pretty boring. I went out of town, got away from the snow for a bit, went and sat in 70-degree weather, had a lot of beers. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're back and we're doing the next 5 states.
All right, what are the 5 states here?
The 5 states that we are covering today is New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, and Ohio.
Nice.
Ohio. All right, so I'll kick us off with some good old New Mexico. I'm probably going to butcher this, so I apologize, but it's La Maya Ora? Do you know what that translates to, Cleet? I know you're really hefty in your Spanish.
Yeah, it was an old wooden ship used in the Civil War.
Nope, that was La Maya Ora 2. This is just La Maya Ora.
I thought you said La Maya Wara.
No, Ora. It translates to the evil hour.
Oh, like the witch's hour.
So when it comes to the La Maya Ora, there's a few different versions depending on where you are. In New Mexico, it's described as an entity that you don't ever want to see on a dark road. I mean, if you can tell me of an entity you do want to see on a dark road, I just think every entity on a dark road is a bad idea.
Yeah, maybe not like a Care Bear, but...
On a dark avenue, that Care Bear's up to some sketchy shit. He's got like probably a hepatitis C knife. I'm going to stab you with it.
I'd have some questions.
You're just sitting there. I have some questions for you, fucking Care Bear. What are you doing here?
Hepatitis
what color of
C.
Care Bear? The green one? He's a sketchy mofo. Gangrenous. So, legend states that this apparition first appears as a ball of black energy that is constantly moving and changing its size and shape. So it's just like this big gelatinous blob. Sometimes it looks like a large lock of wool or an entire fleece that expands and contracts. So it's like, it just sounds gross.
That's kind of a smart urban legend, though, because if you think about it, like when you're really tired at night and you're just looking around, just in the peripheries of your eyes, you might see something that looks like a black orb. And if you're told that's a thing when you're a kid, you're like, shit, I think I just saw it.
Right.
I was never taught that, you know. You always see those little tracers in your eyes.
Yeah. And it's just constantly moving. Like when you blink and you got something in your eye and it's like little
the
shapes.
Squiggly line. I hate that.
I think that's what it is. A squiggly line.
Bastard.
It's just eye problems. That's all this is. It's a bunch of people with eye problems. The problem is, if you look at it, you will slowly go insane and eventually die. I guess we've just been getting away with looking at those black squiggles, but we weren't in New Mexico, so I think we're safe. So if you're in New Mexico, you're walking down an aisle and you see like a floating orb and you look at it, you're going to die eventually. Just going completely insane.
I'd rather see the orb than hear the hum.
What?
There's a thing. It's called the Tucson Hub?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like basically, I don't know if it's Tucson, but a lot of residents down there say they hear this hum and it just is so annoying. It's just constant. Nobody else can nobody's been able, a bunch of people in the town can hear the hum, but no one can record it.
Oh, have you ever had a beer that just pisses you off?
This one time I had a beer with someone and I just wanted to hit them. I just wanted to hit just a hat right off their head.
You can go for
have like a little pink hat.
I still think that's better than this beer. You can hit me, and I think it's still a better time. It doesn't usually appear as a human figure, but when it does, it can often be seen as a scary-looking woman. Always scary. If you happen to see her at a crossroads, dressed in black, either you or someone in your family will die. So it's always death. Yeah,
and it's like a crossroads, too. I'd be like, shit, I was here to be a good guitar player. Now someone's going to have my family die or me.
Yeah. What would you do like you knew that you or someone in your family would die? Like, what would you do?
Life insurance policy.
Who would you call first? Like, who are you calling first in your family to make sure they're good?
Yeah.
Yeah, you went all
after
sketchy,
I get the life insurance policy.
Okay, H.H. Holmes.
So you got to call and be like, "Hey, how you feeling?"
How you feeling?
I'm just kidding.
Did you come down with the flu today? No, okay, you're good. I don't want to talk to you.
See you, bye.
No, shut up. I'm done talking to you.
Have a bye.
Call your brother. Oh, good. You got a cough?
Hey, I need you to sign this paper.
I'll be over real quick, bud. Don't worry. I'm gonna bring you some
insurance policy. The proceeds will go to me if the unlikelihood that you die.
I'm going to bring you some snacky snacks. We're going to make this real comforting, bro. Don't even worry about it. So either way, you look at this thing, you're dead. So if you're seeing a black orb in New Mexico, just walk away. La Maya Ora isn't always seen as a crazy changing entity, however. In Mexico, so not New Mexico, but actual Mexico, La Maya Ora is seen as a beautiful, long-haired woman dressed in white who is walking alone on the side of the road at night. Now you, an upstanding citizen, would you stop and help this beautiful, long-haired woman walking alone at night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure she's okay.
Just, are you okay, ma'am? Are you fine? Are you good? Yeah. No other ambitions, right, Cleet?
Nope.
Yep. Just pick her up, take her home, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, but I mean, I think you see like a woman walking in a white dress down the middle of the night. That's just suspicious.
You gotta actually make sure they're okay. I mean,
yeah, but you can like roll down the window just a little bit and, hey, you okay? Okay,
yes,
bye.
all right,
Take off. Men who see her are so attracted to her that they follow her wherever she goes, seemingly hypnotized.
Oh.
So they park their cars, they get out, and they go, oh, you're so beautiful, so pretty. That's why women live longer, because men are dumbasses. The rare few who claim to have seen her and survived described suddenly being lost, not remembering how they got there. If they had a lantern or a light with them, it would immediately just cease to work. Just done, gone. They described that the lady they were following was floating rather than walking, and that her toes were all backwards.
Ew.
That's some fucked up shit. If I see any girl with toes backwards, I'm like, that's a deal breaker. Bye. How do you wear shoes?
Backwards.
Backwards shoes. It's like, those shoes are funky and my toes are backwards. All right.
I have an upside down face.
Can I see your fingers? The unfortunate ones who don't see the floating woman will be led off of a ravine or a cliff to their death. How the fuck do you not notice a floating woman?
Well, once you see it, man, you're hypnotized. You're just done.
Apparently, only the dumbest ones are like, oh, you're so pretty. Why are you 7 feet tall?
Like a moth to a flame.
So, anyway, that's basically it. La Maya Ora.
Wow.
That's the urban legend. So, some people still say they'll be driving down the road. They'll see a woman in white. There's no, like, taunting. Usually with, like, urban legends, like, oh, let's do a stupid jig and flash the lights and drive away. Yeah, it's none of that. So, if you just see a floating entity or a hot woman in Mexico, you're probably going to die.
Nice.
That's
it's probably true, though,
Yeah. So that's New Mexico for you, La Maya Ora.
Like, hey, come to the sketchy bar with me, and then you get robbed.
The bar is called Terrible, and it's a good place.
There's a casino called Terrible.
It's Terrible's, yeah.
Yeah.
We stopped there.
I would never go there.
There's a gas station. We always stop there on our way to Arizona and get some drinks and stuff. It's always one of our stops.
I always feel like you'd have bad luck. Like, why name a casino Terribles?
So you won't go to a casino named Terrible's, but you'll buy a beer that's called Terrible.
Yeah, you gotta take risks, Britain.
Oh, apparently only the dumb risks.
Moving to New York.
All right.
The Legend of the Super Clap. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, is that like a sex disease?
The Legend of Cropsy. You heard of Cropsy?
Cropsy. I feel like I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you with this flying insect killer. Do you think you
right
die?
In the eyes.
Right in the eyes.
There we go. That's nice. Yeah.
Your hot lung air all over the mic. That's nice.
The legend takes place in Staten Island, New York, over the Seaview Hospital of an old tuberculosis sanatorium.
Good God. Imagine, where do you work? The tuberculosis sanatorium.
This legend takes place... Damn it!
Figure it out!
That's because I need more beer.
I think you need less beer is the problem.
This legend takes place in Staten Island, New York, over at Seaview Hospital, which is an old tuberculosis sanatorium. It was in the abandoned tunnels that were supposedly below this building where Cropsy would drag his victims to meet their untimely end.
Ugh.
But who or what was Cropsy? He was the epitome of New York's boogeyman.
Huh.
He was waiting for you down the street in a darkened alleyway. He waited outside your window at night, waiting to snatch you up.
He's just everywhere looking to kidnap you.
Yeah, he's
fucking
a creep.
Cropsy.
He's jeepers, he's a creeper.
Oh my God.
Parents would spin tales to their children, telling the horrors of Cropsy.
He had a lot of them horrors.
To stop them from wandering off or leaving the house unattended at night. According to a popular version of the legend, Cropsy is an escaped mental patient who wields a sharp metal hook for a hand. He comes after his victims at night, mainly those people being children. He will dig his hook deep into them and drag them into the dark tunnels beneath the old Seaview Sanatorium.
Man, this is just a good old wholesome tale.
Never to be seen again. Yeah. Can you imagine? You're just like, man, I want to teach my kid responsibility, but that's like a lot of work. So I'm going to tell him there's like a psychopath murderer outside his window. And if he goes out, he's going to get killed with a hook. He's going to get dragged out to a tunnel. And you will feel pain. Like, my God, this isn't Hellraiser.
I don't think any kids are going to go out for that. But my question is, why is he called Cropsy and not Hooksy?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Was he a crop farmer?
Well, we'll get into it. Maybe.
Did I just spoil it again?
He was a crop farmer. No, I'm kidding.
God damn it, I knew it.
If you were me, so when I was researching the story, it actually sounded very familiar. That's because it's tied to a very classic, short, scary story around like a boy and a gal on a date. And the specific one that I'm going to go over first is Lover's Lane. So does that kind of ring bells to you?
There's so many Lover's Lanes.
Yeah, but
there's one down by my house. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, do you know like what happens on that story?
Yeah, you go to make love and you end up dying.
Oh, really? I thought they were like shaking hands and comparing like their hand sizes.
Yeah, they're comparing sizes of other things.
Oh, all right. Wait, what?
What? I don't know. How big's your sock?
So let's jump into this urban legend.
Let's go down Lover's Lane, bro.
You know, they're just sitting there in a car, Lover's Lane, shaking hands,
playing
and listening to the radio because they're just trying to get into the mood of this sick Uno game. You know,
draw two,
and all of a sudden there's a cut to the radio, and they hear over it an announcement saying there's an escaped mental patient who is loose in the nearby town.
So, quite literally, that would be terrifying. Can you imagine being like close to a mental institution and having the radio immediately like, breaking news, a mental institute patient broke out.
Just imagine this though. Like you're the guy and you're just about to win at Uno. Like you're just about to win.
You are just about to get that last card down.
And that comes on, you're just like, are you seriously trying to stop me from winning Uno?
You want to have me pick 4? I was just about to get home with Uno.
So this radio announcement says like he's dangerous. He can be identified easily because he has a missing hand, which he replaced with a sharp, shiny hook. Oh. How they know that is bizarre.
Did he escape from Neverland?
Yeah.
You get tired of going after Peter Pan?
So, you know, obviously the girl is worried, doesn't care about Uno at all.
Now they're moving on to Jenga.
And her boyfriend is less concerned, is just like, I want to finish Uno. Like, what's going on here? The doors are locked. I mean, they can't even see inside the car. Like, let's just finish our Uno. Right?
Uno is so important. I only came for Uno.
And finally, you know, the girl just, like, we got to go. And the guy's like, okay, whatever. He throws the cards in the back. And they eventually drive away from Lover's Lane. And actually, before they drive away, I forgot to put this in here. They do hear, like, an ominous scratch when they're, like, driving away from it. I don't know. Like,
so he like a drive-by scratching?
How he's scratching the wall, you know, except on a car. I was just thinking about this because you've heard this story, right?
Yeah.
This just reminds me of my childhood. And I remember like when I first heard this story, I was like really young. And my brothers and I made a fort in the basement. And we slept in the fort for that night. We're telling ghost stories, and this is one of them. Now, there's other different stories or versions of this story which are a little bit more gruesome, and I've heard them as well.
I love the gruesome stories.
Yeah, so in this story, a young couple is just driving down a wooded road, and they hear that same radio report of a missing mental patient with a hook for a hand and is considered extremely dangerous. So I guess the boyfriend was driving a Ford, and the car immediately broke down right after that.
Ford tough. They never break down.
Ford tough.
You drive a Ford.
And so he's just like, hey, there's a gas station a mile or two down the road. Let me just walk there. I'll get some help. And what I always think is funny about the story, I guess they're in a very wooded area, but he instructs his girlfriend to hide on the floor in the back of the car under a blanket. Like, I mean, she must have been really scared. Like, I guess a radio announcement. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
While you're down there, grab the Uno cards.
He tells her, he's like, hey, when I return, you'll know because I'll knock twice. That way you can just stay under the blanket so there's not some crazy mental patient, you know, knocking on the door and you look under the blanket and then you're going to get, you know, hooked.
Classic, the old 2-knocker.
So she hides under the blanket. She's holding really still. A minute goes by, and then what seems like an hour goes by, and then 2. And then all of a sudden she stops and listens, and she hears a knock on the car. And then she hears a second one, and she's very relieved. She's like, my boyfriend's back. Everything's great. But just as soon as she's about to get out from under that blanket, she hears another knock, and her stomach just churns.
Oh, God.
That's not her boyfriend. I mean, it could just be some crazy mental patient. And the knocking, it just keeps happening. It doesn't stop. It's almost rhythmic. And she's so scared she doesn't move, and she falls asleep after just holding still for hours.
Oh my God, you're falling asleep?
Well, if you're just holding still under a blanket, I mean, it's gonna happen. I mean, I think it will.
Not for me. There's an escaped mental patient. Your boyfriend's not back for hours.
There's a knocking on the door.
I'm just gonna sleep here next to these Uno cards, sticky Uno cards.
So all of a sudden, she hears sirens outside the car, followed by frantic knocking. So she finally gets under the blanket. She sees a man. She doesn't know him. She gets out, and he's like, I'm a police officer. He's like, get out of the car, get out of the car. And he just grabs her, and he's just like trying to pull her along and just says, don't look back. We're going to get you home. Don't worry, just don't look back. And she's just wondering, like, well, where's my boyfriend? What's going on? What was that knocking? And she looks back, and she sees her boyfriend hanging from a tree with a hook lodged into his torso. He's dead. And his corpse was swaying that night with the wind, and it was his shoes that were hitting the car, making that familiar knocking sound.
Oh, God. I thought it was the killer knocking on it, but it's just his dead-ass shoes.
Yeah. So those are like the 2 famous stories that stemmed from Cropsy. But it really makes you wonder, like, who the fuck was Cropsy? I mean, that guy must have been crazy, right? These stories were based from the 1970s when the Legend of Cropsy came to life in a terrifying real way with the emergence of a man named Andre Rand.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Andre Rand, a.k.a. Cropsy.
Cropsy. He was born Frank Russian, but for some reason it changed his name to Andre Rand. So
makes sense.
Maybe
I don't want to be Frank Russian.
Call me Andre Rand. His past is not noted with having any particular abusive or tragic childhood. However, in the year 1958, his father passed away when Rand was 14 years old. His mother, possibly not being able to deal with the loss of her husband, got institutionalized at Pilgrim Psychiatric Center in Brentwood, New York in 1958. She just went nuts.
I mean, it happens. They've been together for their whole life. You lose a spouse, you go nuts sometimes.
Yeah. This left him and himself and his sister alone in their teenage years. Soon in his late 20s, and this was in the mid-1960s, Rand worked as a custodian, orderly, and a physical therapist at the Willowbrook State School.
Why the fuck are you saying it's Willowbrook State School?
Yeah, at the Willowbrook State School. The Willowbrook State School was a state-supported institution, shocking, for children with intellectual... I know! Intellectual... God damn it! All right.
Here we go again, folks.
Yeah, of course I got to do it right
intellectual.
here. With intellectual disabilities. So like a place for you.
Oh, fuck you. You can't even talk and you're cracking jokes? Electrical? Interelectrical? It's intellectual.
That'll make me shove those crayons into your mouth by force.
Oh my God. Help me.
That operated from 1940 to 1987. During that time of Willowbrook State School, they came under scrutiny for questionable medical practices and experiments.
Oh, so questionable at best.
Shoving crayons in people's mouths.
They had a couple helium tanks floating around.
Some inflatable tubes.
Some terrible beer called Terrible.
Terrible. It was finally closed in 1987 after public outcry, like a lot of the mental institutions in the past. Its closure even led to legislation that further protected the rights of those with disabilities.
Nice.
Regardless, Andre Rand began working at Willow State School in the 60s, and when 1969 rolled around, Andre's behavior would start to lean into a very dark direction. So May 25th, 1969 is the first time that Andre came under police scrutiny when he abducted and tried to assault a 9-year-old girl. Fortunately, he was caught before the assault occurred, and was sentenced to a 16-month prison sentence, and he was convicted for attempted sexual assault. So he wasn't...
16 months is all that carries, huh?
Yeah. Jeepers, he was a creeper.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Still going strong with that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that go. Shortly after Rand was released from prison, a little less than 2 years later, in 1972, a 5-year-old girl named Alice Pereira was playing in the lobby of an apartment building her family lived in with her brother. Her brother left her alone for just a few moments.
That's all it takes.
But when he returned, Alice was gone.
Fuck that guy, dude. You don't go after kids.
I don't like
kids
that.
Is just not okay.
So she vanished at around 3:30 p.m. that afternoon, and at 6:15 that evening, her mother called the police.
So 3 hours, 15 minutes later?
Yeah. Well, they're probably looking around. Maybe she thought,
yeah,
I don't want to judge. I don't know. But Alice was never seen again. Never found like a body or anything. Yeah. Police immediately suspected Rand of Alice's disappearance due to his history, and he was in close proximity of the area. But at the time, they did not have enough evidence to link him directly to Alice's vanishing. So he's like the prime suspect, but they just couldn't find the smoking gun.
You know what, man? We suspect this guy. We just don't have enough to go off of him. I'd be so pissed.
It sucks.
Like, tell me where this fucking guy is. I'll take care of it. Like, I mean, your daughter's missing forever. I'd kill the guy.
What if it wasn't him, though? What if you didn't have the proof?
I'd feel bad.
What if it was like, we think it's him, but it ends up just being some innocent dude that was playing Uno.
Innocent dude.
I'm not saying he was, but you got to have evidence, right?
I get it, but then the guy we're talking about...
in your theoretical example, they didn't know, though.
He's already been served jail time for an alleged... so it's not... I'm sorry, he's a fucking creep, dude.
Britain is the judge, jury, and executioner, people.
Capital E.
Capital E. So a decade passed later, in 1979, Rand was accused of sexually assaulting a young woman and a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah, see, I would have killed him. They would have saved him right there. Dead.
Yeah. They lived. He didn't kill him, but for some reason, they ended up not pressing charges against Rand, and as a result, he was never indicted for the crime.
Wow. Cool.
A few years later, in 1981, a 7-year-old named Holly Ann Hughes was sent by her mother to the Port Richmond Deli near Richmond Terrace and Park Ave, around 2 blocks from where they were, to buy some Ivory soap. The shopkeeper clearly remembers seeing the girl buying the soap, but she never made it back to her mother. Holly Hughes was never heard from again.
Go and get the soap, but only the Ivory kind. We're an Ivory household.
That's what you got out of this conversation, is the Ivory soap.
Well, I mean, it's very specific.
Not the heartbreaking, tragic loss.
I've already told... I would have killed the guy. It wouldn't have happened anyway. It's the
so
Ivory soap.
You're over it.
I'm over it. He's dead in my mind. I killed him.
So here's where it gets worse. Eyewitnesses claim to have seen Andre Rand pulling Holly into his van. I assume it was windowless.
And they didn't
driving
interject?
away. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened.
Serious question, though. You see a child being grabbed by a man and thrown into a van. What do you do?
You gotta follow him. Why
are you laughing? Why
are you laughing? Shut up.
I would literally follow him.
Yeah, okay.
That's
good.
They do this stupid prank. Like I saw it on Facebook. It's like these. I'm serious. Like there was a prank that this stupid group did where they would pretend to kidnap. They weren't children. They were like lone women walking down the sidewalk, and they pretend to kidnap, and they're like, "Oh, just kidding. Here's $50 for being in my video." And it's like, that's not okay. Like you could easily get murdered. And a lot of like bigger guys were jumping in to try and stop it. I'm like, you're gonna get shot. You know the Borat movies? Do you watch those?
Yeah.
So he said he's not going to do Borat anymore because he almost got shot in the second movie. Like he literally almost got killed filming the movie.
I haven't seen the second one.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. It's nice. It's it's so good. But he came out and said he's not doing Borat because it almost cost him his life. Why are you laughing? You're laughing at this
because it was funny. It's worth his life.
Oh, it's worth his life for a Borat 3.
Yeah.
You're like, if he dies for my Borat 3 entertainment, fuck it. I don't care.
Sometimes you got to take risks, and they're terrible risks.
Oh, like I
like this beer.
And my stomach is feeling quite terrible.
Good.
You just wanted to give me the wicked shits when I get home. I'm like, damn you, Cleet.
And you're terrible.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. You just ended right there.
That's it.
Okay, that's cool. So where are we at?
Rand would not be charged with Holly's disappearance until years later. In 1983, Andre Rand comes into police radar again when he does something extremely bizarre. While driving a bus...
I missed such a good joke there. And
like, how did he get a bus?
I missed a good joke, and I wasn't quick enough. I don't know how you steal a bus. I don't know.
He shows up to a school in a stolen bus, disappears with a whole freaking neighborhood of kids.
Why are you kidnapping in a neighborhood?
He took a bus of kids.
Oh my god. So he stole a whole bus of children?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Hang on. No. So.
Oh god.
Context. I lost my spot. I was laughing too hard. So while Rand was driving this bus, he just shows up to this local Staten Island YMCA and picked up a group of 11 kids.
Oh.
He then proceeded to drive them to White Castle and buy them all burgers. Huh. After stopping at White Castle, he then brings them to the Newark Airport in New Jersey to watch planes.
Oh.
It's kind of a strange twist.
Yeah, that's a really weird outing. Like, hey, we're going to go to White Castle for... Was that a fucking joke, though? The burgers at White Castle, was that real?
No, that was real.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you're fucking with me now. We're going to go get some burgers. We're just going to go sit and watch the plane. Stay in the bus, though. Jesus Christ. I don't know if you're fucking with me ever. I can't even tell. You're always just throwing little things in there.
Disappears.
You just
the full bus
and burgers. I don't know what you're talking about.
Obviously, this is done without the consent of their parents. Police caught wind of this, and Andre Rand ended up serving another 10 months in jail for unlawful imprisonment.
Oh, my God.
So 12 days after he was released from prison, August 14th, 1983, an 11-year-old girl named Tashiz Jackson was reported missing after her mother sent her to purchase food and she didn't return. Police immediately questioned Rand, but once again, they did not have enough evidence to tie him to the disappearance.
This is frustrating.
So they had to let him go.
Of course they did.
On July 9th, 1987, a few years later, a 12-year-old girl with Down syndrome went out for what was supposed to be a short walk, but never returned. This one's really sad. A month later, after relentless searching by volunteers and police, her body was uncovered near what was known then as the Staten Island Developmental Center.
That's just ridiculous. That's not okay.
Yeah, and so just going off papers here. So an excerpt of the August 14, 1987 edition of the New York Times reads as follows. A retired firefighter, George Kramer, led other searchers Wednesday night to a spot he had noticed where clay was mixed with darker topsoil. The volunteers began digging and eventually unearthed the body, police said. Regarding Andre Rand, the same article stated the following. Last week, 43-year-old homeless man Andre Rand was charged with kidnapping the girl. Police officials said that it was possible that Mr. Rand, who was the last person seen with Jennifer on the day she disappeared, would now be charged with murder. The article closes by saying, senior law enforcement officials have said Mr. Rand is a possible suspect in the disappearance of at least two other younger girls on the island, Tashiz Jackson, who disappeared in 1983, and Holly Ann Hughes, missing since 1981. When all is said and done, in 1988, Rand was charged with the kidnapping and first-degree murder of Jennifer Schwager and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. In 2004, Rand was put on trial again, this time for kidnapping Holly Ann Hughes. He was convicted and sentenced to another 25 to life. This will make him eligible for parole in 2037 when he will be 93 years old. There are many theories surrounding Rand's abductions. Some speculated that he was involved in a satanic ritual and was offering the children as a sacrifice. See, people always think like evil has to have like this crazy meaning.
Right, it's always a satanic
sicko,
thing.
It was a sick dude.
You can just be a twisted fucker without having to have some satanic agenda.
Yeah. Others believe he was not working alone and was passing the children around an underground network of homeless and disabled people living in the tunnels under the former under the former Willowbrook State School.
That's even more sketchy. Like, just to think this organized underground group of homeless
disabled people
tossing children around. That's just horrible.
Whatever the case, we can be sure of one thing. The Legend of Cropsy as a hook-handed boogeyman may have been a little to no truthful merit in it. But the monster known as Andre Rand, child abductor and murderer, is real and serves as enough real-life fuel for our nightmares.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Tremendously. Well, that was pretty dark, Cleet. Thanks for a trip down that fucking road.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop on over to North Carolina for the Beast of Bladenboro.
That's scary.
Is it, though? It's been a while since we've had a hell portal one. This isn't a hell portal, but like I feel like the first.
Serious?
Yeah, I feel like the first 5 episodes, it was like hell, cryptid, and then like we haven't had a single one since.
I just got a bunch of sanatoriums.
That's true. All right, so during the 1950s, several dogs had been found dead and drained of all their blood in the town of Bladenboro, North Carolina.
Weren't you there during that time frame?
Shut up. The first deaths were reported on December 29th, 1953. Witnesses that claimed to have seen the creature described it as being sleek, black, and about 5 feet long.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it's your cat.
It's like a big wiener dog, but black.
You just wanted to say wiener. This creature killed a dog in Clarkton, North Carolina, which is roughly 8 miles from Bladenboro.
Could you imagine a 5-foot-long wiener dog?
That's just horrible. That's as tall as you are almost. What are you, like 5'2"?
Shut the fuck up.
I'm serious. Like, that's
you
almost...
think I'm 5'2"?
I don't know.
Yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off. On December 31st, 1954, 2 dogs that belonged to a resident of Bladenboro were discovered dead with a significant amount of blood near their kennels. So the owner said this: "My dogs put up a good fight. There was blood all over the porch, big puddles of it, and there was a pool of saliva on the porch. It killed one dog at 10:30 and left it lying there. My dad wrapped the dog up in a blanket. That thing came back and got that dog, and nobody's seen the dog since. At 1:30 in the morning, it came back and killed the other dog and took it off. We found it 3 days later in a hedgerow. The top of one of the dog's heads was torn off, and its body was crushed and wet, like it had been in that thing's mouth. The other dog's lower jaw was torn off."
Jesus.
And what would you do if you saw your dog in that state?
Yeah, I'd try to like kill whatever it was. Put out some bait, have a little gun.
Well, the bait is dogs.
But throw a steak out on your porch the next night.
It doesn't want steak. It wants dogs.
All right, I'll buy a dog.
And okay, yeah. You already lost 2. You buy another one. Anyway,
it's the gambler's fallacy. I'm gonna win this time.
That's a terrible idea.
It's like Jurassic Park with the goat.
Yeah, with the raptors and the goat. The next day, on January 1st, 1955, 2 more dogs were found dead at Bladenboro Farm, and another dog was reported dead the next night from another farmer. So random dogs are just found dead all over the town. 2 more dead dogs were found the next day. Now, on these 2, they did an autopsy so they could try and figure out what the hell was going on, and it was reported that there wasn't more than 2 or 3 drops of blood in them. So all the blood was taken out.
Chupacabra.
The Chupacabra. The victim's bottom lip had been broken open and his jawbone smashed back. So like the skulls are just completely fucked beyond repair, and there's no blood in them left. Like, that's it. It's just insane. More deaths were reported in the coming days, including a freshly decapitated rabbit that was still warm, and a goat died with its head flattened.
Oh my God.
Just a flattened goat head. The hell do you do in that case? Bladenboro is just possessed.
Maybe
man.
They did have a T-Rex on the loose.
Did you read this script before? I'm just kidding. There's no fucking T-Rex in this story.
Make a joke. I took your bit. I was like, motherfucker.
Damn it. The townsfolk believed that there was a vampire on the loose.
Jesus.
Right. It's always a vampire. The blood's drained, ripping skulls.
Glittering out in the daytime.
Yeah. It's always shiny.
They should check the high schools.
Some Twilight shit. Others didn't really buy into the notion as more descriptions came flooding in from those who supposedly saw the beast. See, that's what we've talked about before. You see one report and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, I saw this thing. One local described the beast as 4.5 feet long, that was bushy, resembled a bear or panther.
Man, I'd be the guy trolling. I'd be like, yeah, I saw a 5-foot wiener dog. He looked pissed.
Another description painted it as small, with another one just like it running by its side. So some are saying there's 2 of these fucking beasts running around. One local recalled hearing a strange noise like a baby crying.
Oh.
What kind of animal cries like a baby? So one report made it into the newspaper with this description. It was about 20 inches high, had a long tail, about 14 inches. The color of it was dark. It had a face exactly like a cat, only I ain't ever seen a cat that big. It was walking around, stealthy, sneaky. It was in the local newspaper, so you know it's legit. A group of hunters gathered to hunt the beast. They recalled seeing tracks with claws at least an inch long and indicated an 80 to 90 pound beast. On January 5th, the beast was seen attacking a dog. It ran away and was never found, but tracks were seen along a creek bank. There were 2 sets of prints, with one set being much smaller, so you'd think it's like a mom and a baby out for hunting. Later in that evening, a report of a big mountain lion was made. Supposedly it was around some dogs 3 houses down from the gal reporting it. Apparently, the beast ran towards her, but bolted as soon as she began to scream bloody murder. The tracks outside her house were bigger than a silver dollar. That's not very big.
Yeah.
You think of a beast of, like, Bladenboro, a huge, massive beast, you're thinking, like, T-Rex size.
And it just had, like, thin legs.
Yeah, it's like, man, the tracks were bigger than a penny.
My God.
No shit, we've got a crazy...
It tasted like pennies, too, because I licked them.
Okay. They eventually resorted to police dogs for help in tracking... Fuck you, dude. Because I lick them. I was trying to keep going, but I couldn't.
Don't let that stay in my head.
God damn it. I was trying. I failed. They eventually resorted to police dogs for help in tracking this monster, but the dogs were too afraid to pursue it. What kind of fucking police dogs are those? They're just sitting there pissing down their legs. I ain't going
I'll
after
pass.
it. Hunting parties consisting of youths and their dogs started to form in the hopes of being the ones to finally end the killings. On January 4th, during a hunting party, they walked 3 miles around the... Bro, what? Stop. You're laughing, and I can fucking hear it. Because your little guffaws in the background. Stop thinking of school buses. Freak.
That'd be the best urban legend.
Look, the school bus?
School bus sighting. No one saw him again, but people see him driving down the freeway all scared.
Especially high school kids. Like, what the hell is that about?
Took a third of the school's gone.
You're so stuck on the school bus idea.
I'm done.
I can't finish this because every time I try. On January 4th, during a hunting party, they walked 3 miles around the swamps, finding nothing. On January 5th, more than 500 people and dogs hunted the swamp. So, like, all these people are just fucking flooding around trying to find this thing. As of January 7th, more than 1,000 people were combing through the swamps hunting this beast.
That's crazy.
Like, dogs. And they're all carrying, like, guns and stuff trying to hunt this fucking thing. On the evening of January 8th, the only hunters that were left were a couple of frat boys. We're going to find this fucking thing.
Let's get some PBR and go hunting.
Mayor Fuso called off the hunts unless the creature struck again, as at this point in time, the large hunting parties were more safety concerns at this point. Because everyone's drunk, walking around with guns and dogs. It's just not a good thing. On January 13th, a local farmer named Luther Davis found a bobcat stuck in a steel trap 4 miles from the city in Big Swamp. He shot it in the head, killing it instantly. The mayor then pronounced the beast of Bladenboro dead and no longer an issue. Do you believe that it was just a bobcat?
Yep.
Several people disputed this, as such a small cat couldn't have been responsible for all the deaths of those dogs, because some of the dogs, I guess, were pretty big. That same day, Bruce Souls from Tabor City was leaving Bladenboro when he hit and killed a cat with his car. The cat was reportedly spotted like a leopard and was 20 to 24 inches high, weighing 75 to 90 pounds.
Damn.
He took the cat home with him, claiming that he killed the beast of Bladenboro.
All right.
Yeah, so like everyone's like killing these like leopards and stuff and saying, I killed the beast. The townspeople never really agreed as to what the beast actually was. Some speculated, of course, that it was some sort of cat, but can't agree on any one species. Some claim it was a bear or panther, while others think it was a wolverine. Some even still believe that it was a vampire that got away, never to be found, but too afraid of all the attention it was getting. I think the vampire is the most logical
That makes sense. I'm going with vampire that was shy of attention.
The one thing that I think they're missing is aliens. Like, it's got to be.
It was the aliens.
It's got to be. The town has since embraced the history and even hold a beast feast every year to honor it.
A beast feast?
We got to go to this beast feast in North Carolina, man. I'm not even kidding. So that is the story of the Bladenboro beast. Supposedly some people are still believe that it's a vampire, and they claim that you have to lock your dogs away at night or it's going to eat them. But,
hide your dogs, hide your cats.
Bladenboro beast is everywhere. All right, where are we going next, Cleet?
All right, let's jump to North Dakota.
North Dakota, eh?
I was having trouble finding anything in North Dakota. At first, I thought it was going to be like a wood chipper. They're like, the wood chipper got Minnesota.
Like in Fargo.
Yeah. All right, so what I found was in North Dakota, they have a haunted sanatorium called San Haven.
You got another sanatorium?
Yeah, isn't that funny? So in this sanatorium, again, is another tuberculosis place. It's in the foothills of Turtle Mountains, a few minutes north of Dunsith. Thousands, so back in the day when it was operating, thousands of TB patients received treatment here between the years of 1909 and the end of the TB epidemic in around 1940.
Dude, tuberculosis would be the worst.
Yeah. Killed a lot of people. You know, TB is cured by antibiotics. Clearly they didn't have that then. So, I mean, the kill rate was pretty much 50% for these people. So 50%? A lot of the people being put there were basically being shipped off to die, you know. The common remedy at the time was they would surgically collapse a lung. And I guess that would somehow help.
God, that sounds painful.
It is.
To fix your tuberculosis.
Very painful.
Say goodbye to one lung.
Years later, the place actually became home for the developmentally disabled. And it became the subject of some controversy. There were a lot of reports of understaffing, mistreatment, and neglect. There was still a very vocal group, though, of former employees are like, dude, these are just rumors. We have no idea what these people are saying. They don't know shit. So San Haven did come under fire, and eventually they lost their funding. They closed their doors in 1987. People just say the place looks, creepy after that. You know, when I was a kid here in Salt Lake, there used to be that abandoned hospital downtown I'd go check out.
Oh, yeah.
That shit looked creepy.
Is that one in Tooele, too? I'd say the one in Tooele they still use as like a horror
asylum,
walk-through asylum thing. So, but you can also tour it. I still want to do that.
Yeah, we will. Let's do it on Halloween. So, yeah, people talk about how creepy it looks because of the natural reclamation of nature taking over the site. You know, the trees are overgrown, the bushes. All the outside, there used to be fountains, and now they're just dried up and cobbled. When people go there, they see that they hear voices. I got a lot of reports of people going in there getting voice recordings of what they would say is mental patients. I think someone, I heard one saying he's over there, and there was another one where it's we are all waiting.
Jesus.
Which is creepy.
We are all waiting.
Yeah, I couldn't find a lot outside of that, except one thing that was kind of sad is there was one teenager exploring the abandoned place when I guess he wasn't really paying attention and he fell down an elevator shaft and died. That's it. That's all I have.
Well, good for you, North Dakota.
Yeah, he was just trying to get one of those voice recordings. He fell down an elevator shaft. And it was not a Warshak. He didn't do that.
That's really, really unfortunate. But I mean, that's unfortunately why a lot of those places are off limits, because a lot of them are crumbling and they're just not safe for people to go through. But not nearly as dark as your last one, so I guess there's a reprieve for that one.
Yeah, there's no tunnels or Hookman dragging people down there.
Good old Cropsy. Let's go ahead and end with Ohio.
Ooh.
This one's also very short. I couldn't find a lot happening in Ohio.
My heart has always been in Ohio.
Okay. But my
heart is in Ohio.
So I couldn't find a lot. It's just North Dakota. I guess there's not a whole lot happening in Ohio. So we're going to be covering the Werewolf of Defiance.
Oh.
Now, at first when I read it, I was like, oh, this werewolf is very defiant.
Yeah, what did he defy?
Defiance is actually the name of a town in Ohio. Oh. So it kind of took, I was like, this werewolf just doesn't care to follow orders.
He was actually a werewolf that followed the rules.
Yeah, he was the werewolf of obedience.
He was busting people, spray painting buildings.
Are you driving drunk, sir? I have to ask you not to. Yeah, no, so Defiance. So on July 25th, 1972, there were 2 employees working a graveyard shift in a freight train company. Right? That just sounds like that's the typical horror movie starter. It's late at night, 2 employees working a graveyard shift in an abandoned freight train company. So Ted Davis, he's working with his buddy, and they're just loading up these train tracks to kind of closing up for the night. And he recalls seeing huge feet because he bends down to like attach something to the freight train, and he sees his huge hairy feet. He looks up and he goes, "Mom?"
Oh, no. That's funny.
So he sees his huge feet, and he looks up, and apparently what he saw was this huge, like furry, like a werewolf, right? He sees a werewolf, but this werewolf is carrying like this big club that's like hanging over his shoulder, I guess. I don't know. It was very vague. I guess there's like this whole newspaper article that was published that you can look up online. I mean, honestly, it's just the same details, just very drawn out. But he sees this big, hairy werewolf with his club over his shoulder, and he goes to talk to him, and the werewolf bolts off. That's the story.
That's it.
So I mean, that's like the urban legend, I guess. But apparently, in the summer of 1972, so that same summer, the people in Defiance, Ohio, claimed that the werewolf was actually stalking the whole town. So several sightings were reported by the train tracks at night. Obviously, werewolves only come out at night, a full moon. Several women in the town claimed that the beast attempted to enter their homes by rattling the doorknobs. Because we all know that's how you enter a home, is you just give the doorknob a
the old rattle.
Just got to rattle the knob a little bit. The beast was described as being huge, hairy, and dressed in rags. Oh, kind of like you, Cleet.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It was you.
It's huge.
Shit, I gotta go.
So, again, they just basically described a big old werewolf. It just haunted the town. No one was killed. No one was hurt. No one was murdered.
Are you fucking serious? Get out of here.
Buddha, you dumb
She doesn't even care either.
She's just like, oh, that sucks for you. Knocked your phone off. So, yeah, again, no one was murdered, killed, injured, anything. No kidnappings. They said that this werewolf haunted the town, was always trying to enter women's houses, but never did. Once the summer concluded, the beast vanished, but the tale remains. So people still talk about this good old werewolf. Comes around, gives your doorknob a rattle, and fucks off, I guess, somewhere else in Ohio. So
that's what my ex-wife says about me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. This episode just like had these big stories, and then it just kind of ended with this lackluster, just two shorties. So, anyways, that's the next 5 states. We only have 3 more episodes left.
That's crazy.
15 more states. So obviously sometime next month we'll cover the next 5 states. But if you guys have suggestions you want us to cover, it's been a minute since we've had some suggestions come through. Entertheabysspod@gmail.com. Any suggestions you have, we will definitely cover. Let us know what you like. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. All that good stuff.
And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.